Welcome to Puck Talk CS. I'm your host, Matthew Mugno, with my co-host, Steve Murno, who's outdressing me today. Steve-O, looking good. And first, I want to start with, Steve, if you don't mind me. Um, a lot of doom and gloom, understandably so, in the Rangers fan universe, but I think we should all take some perspective. And with some of the really tragic events that have happened in the last 48 hours in the world, I think we should all remember that this is professional hockey and it's supposed to be for entertainment purposes. So no matter what we talk about on here, um, you know, I hope everyone out there can at least turn off the game like we saw last night and just move on and be happy where they're at. So yeah, Steve, figured that's a good starting off point for our conversation because there's not too much good after that Canucks game.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't have echoed that statement more to open it up. Bless that. And with that being forward, let's talk some puck. And I do got to say, you've been dappering up me in all these episodes. Like I've been like the Rangers these last few episodes, like on home ice. So let's break that down because when you take a look at it, sixth home shutout loss, seven shutout losses in the year. You didn't manage a single goal against the last place Vancouver Canucks. What is going on right now? Break this down first.
Yeah, Steve, you know what? I feel like that's almost too big of a question. And I think that's where a lot of the current concern is today in Rangerland, in Rangerstown. Like, we don't know the direction anymore. And it's starting to feel like nobody knows, not even the management. And I will say this. I've been called the positivity police, and whatnot, but the reality is the Rangers and Devils are somehow still 2 points out of a playoff spot, even after last night's loss, which is crazy, Steve.
Yeah, and that's what gives you hope on this, and you look at these last few games, at least for me, in my perspective, and this is very similar to kind of the same position the Rangers were in at the end of last year, where if you step up and you start playing well and you stop defeating yourself, you have a chance to get in this, and not only get in this, but run the table. You look at the competition; we can go up and down and go analyze every single team here. But I mean, it's just the lack of scoring has been such a huge issue. And I'm going to be honest, the Ducks didn't play well at all Monday night. I don't think they played well at all. Canucks also didn't play their best game either last night. In fact, they didn't play well last night either. It's just that we are defeating ourselves with a lackluster performance. I want to point out a few players in this episode. Like, we have to talk about them for sure. But I mean, just all around, absolutely brutal in the worst way possible on home ice. I mean, enough is enough. This has to stop. I mean, we're tired of it, and it's not even 2026 yet.
Steve, it's so funny. The last few episodes, you're like, oh, you got all the stats and stuff. I only have a few. They're pretty miserable. But overall, like today, I really just wanted to talk to you. And I mean, I saw you Saturday. Um, that Montreal game, this episode, I titled the graphic for it, the thumbnail, as two strides forward, meaning there's this season, the theme's been that it's like they take two steps forward, three steps back. The last night's loss felt like the end of the season type of loss. And I think that's what is so concerning is, Valley had just said in the post game a few nights ago, like this team needs to find a way to win 5, 6 games in a row. That's how you separate in the standings. That's what Anaheim did early in the year, right? And that's why they're in such a good spot. So that's a concern in my book is like this team never shows that they can string together 3 wins. Um, and at the same time, the losses, like you said, 7 shutouts now, 6 on home ice. It's up there historically. And at this point, it's like you got 47 games to go this year to break the franchise, the club record for times they've been shut out in a season, which is wild to me.
Yeah, I didn't have that on my card, especially under a Mike Sullivan led team. And all you got to do is just win 3 games in a row. You win 2 games in a row, you're jumping into a playoff spot. And that's like, can we win 2 games in a row? That's really not a hard ask. But recently,
You know,
it's
Steve, this is I don't know what you were gonna say. I don't want to cut you off,
go ahead. Go ahead.
but when I think what's concerned me is all year you and I beat the drum. Like you get 2 wins, you're in a playoff spot. Okay. You have Panarin on, his last year. Um, in order for him to be traded, you need him to waive his no trade, his no move um, at the deadline, if you were going to. I think what's concerning right now is that I always believed, well, this year, if you can get in, go for it. Why not? You have Igor Shesterkin. Like, why not try and make a run at the East? Now it feels like this team can't. And if they are going to be sellers, it's also not going to be an easy situation. I mean, there's what, 3, 4 months until the trade deadline?
Mm-hmm.
3 months
Mm-hmm.
with the Olympic break.
Yep. I well, first of all, we need a huge mega size Olympic break right now because I'm tired of watching this team. The feeling is not great. I mean, just and you get the sense of the confidence in this locker room, especially watching it on the ice. I mean, how many times can you played hockey? You get shut out as many times as you have in a season, especially on home ice. Home ice is more humiliating. I mean, you just gotta feel that there's no confidence in that. And let's go to this third period against the Canucks, against the worst team in the league. I mean, it just looked there was no urgency. I don't know if you got the sense watching this, but it just looked like that all of our players on the ice wanted this game to be over. Like there was no sense of urgency. And look, I got to call out people. Lafreniere has been horrible. One shot last night. I mean, recently his effort is just. I call him the Glaber Torres of hockey. He's just such a lazy player. He's not been good. Mika, I know he's been great before getting scratched. Was not great last night. He only had one shot, I think, as well. Overall, our neutral play is pretty bad. I mean, the Vancouver Canucks, again, I'll say it again for the 100th time, they're not a good team. They are a bad team. And we just couldn't. It looked like we were playing the Florida Panthers last night. The way we were having troubles getting the puck into the neutral zone, and that is a huge problem that I don't know how you improve that at this point in the season. I just think this is such a structured issue, and let's be honest, we miss Adam Fox. Like it is very evident that we miss Adam Fox on a power play. We miss Adam Fox all around. He is. I mean, you look. I mean, we were 0 for 4 last night against the Canucks. I mean, when was the last time we scored a power play goal since Adam Fox? Now we did score one against the Canadians, but when was the last time we scored? Aside from that, with the Adam Fox, it just shows you how much we miss him overall in every element of the game. So I know I brought up a lot right there. You could attack whatever you want.
The 5 forward power play units 0 for 25, and they've given up 3 shorthanded goals. It's
Horrible.
That's perplexing to me.
Yep.
What's not, and fans will be angry, but like Mike Sullivan's going to play veterans. Gabe Perreault and Brendan Othman were just called up
Yep.
just before, as we are recording. So we'll see what they can add. The NHL isn't a development league, so my expectations are still a little bit shallow for both of them with their own situations. Yeah, no, Steve, you're right. You have every right, to call out individuals. And when confidence breeds success. When a team isn't confident, we saw what these confident individuals looked like in 23-24. They would put up 4 goals a game. They were controlling games, dominating games. It's the same players. And I do think it has a lot to do with confidence. It has a lot to do with how many times did we see a win that you're like, all right, this will get them going. And it didn't. It was followed up by a loss. They're now their differential and wins and losses, they're below 500 now in back-to-backs because of the Monday Tuesday back-to-back they just lost against Anaheim and Vancouver. So anyway you slice the pie right now, it's not good, Steve. And at this point, do you think are you on the wagon of selling?
Yeah, of course. My my reaction after watching these last few games, yes, of course. I mean, when you have a game that you had on Saturday, it's like, okay, like that is such 2 steps forward. But you couldn't have said it better. You come out the next day and it's 3 steps back with that Anaheim game. Now that Anaheim game was a much closer than I think the final score gives you. The game got out of hand. It was close up to the third period and got out of hand late. But the Canucks game was totally different, and it's just stuff like that. I love to say it here on the pod. You got to look at overall trends during the course of the season. It's just you look at 7 shutouts in a season. That's just not good. I mean, I want to get into the playoffs, but what are we going to get into the playoffs and get shut out in the first round? Nobody wants to watch that. I'd rather not make the playoffs, and that's just the way that this team and the vibe is giving it to me right now. I mean, again, Adam Fox was just such a huge loss. I mean, we said this was going to be a tough month of December without him, and it's shaping up to be much. It's shaping up to be that way, and we only won 1 game in the last 6 games, and we have I believe the 3rd worst points percentage, in the Eastern Conference, and in a year where the Eastern Conference is so tight, that's just not good enough. So if this continues, yeah, I'll be the first to tell you it's sellers. Now, of course, the fan in me is going to tell me, of course, like I was still watching games last year with all that crap, hoping that we would make the playoffs. And so, yeah, of course, the fan's going to want to make that push. But right now, I mean, they've just given us nothing, right? I mean, do you share the same vibe?
Yeah, if we're talking like spaceship point of view, I'm concerned where we're going because I can't imagine ownership wants to rebuild. I don't think New York's built to go through a slow burn rebuild. Um, Chris Drury's contract was extended in April, so at least right now he's in charge of the ship. They retained at this moment, they've retained both first round picks in the upcoming draft. That's supposed to be pretty deep, pretty good. Um, to me, unfortunately, if you don't sell, I think at this deadline, regardless of where the team's at right before the trade deadline, um, I think it just slows down the process. The summer the cap's going up, you have 2 first round picks. Why not try and bolster in this draft? Why not try and take some swings in this draft or try and swing for a prospect maybe that's not working out somewhere? Um, but that is a hard conversation because you fall in love with the player. I mean, the asset, not the player. Most fans are in love with the player, not the asset. Looking at assets solely, how much is tied up in no trade and no move with this team? Even Carson Soucy is a partial no move. Like the players you think can move, I don't even know how the Rangers are going to get out of those situations without more drama, like we saw with Trouba and Kreider.
Yeah, it's nights like that make me don't want to work in hockey. I like that hat, by the way. Um, it's just you look at the whole course of the season, and I think if I had to pick one theme, well, maybe there's like 1.5 themes aside from just like a lackluster effort. It's the inability to finish. Like we've been shut out in 20% of games this entire season. Like that is not good, And sometimes we often generate, a lot of prime scoring opportunities, and we just can't find the net. I don't know why that is. But I think
Well, Steve, I'll tell you some X's and O's, man, right off the bat. Last night, Zibanejad's at the side of the net on the power play. Instead of making the instant pass across the crease to Cooley backdoor, he double clutches, he waits, and he doesn't try and stuff it. He then tries the pass, which at that point it's red. It's too slow. So I don't know. For Peter Laviolette's time in New York, the big conversation was like this team doesn't naturally have speed. That's why they lost to New Jersey. But if they move the puck faster than man, they can succeed. And this team isn't. It's genetics. It's not fast, right? And now you don't even have Chris Kreider anymore. So I think what's also difficult to come to terms with is that Valakit put up last night in the pregame. They lead the league in off the rush chances. I still can't believe that.
Yeah, that's I can't fathom that either. And to break down and look at it, I'm trying to digest. I mean, 7 shutout losses is just it's too much. Enough is enough, and I think a lot of these games you look at it, we're being shut out 3-0, but then we almost have double the amount of shots that the other team has. I mean, you look at the Canadians game the other day. After the first 10 minutes, we had 7 shots. Canadians only had one, and they were winning 1-0. I mean, that's like the overall underlying tone of this entire season. And I think, I just think our shots are uncompetitive. I mean, we're not elevating shots. We're not getting the puck up in terms of shooting. Well, also, I mentioned this on the last episode. I think this goes a long way. We're not causing any trouble in front of the net. We're not screening. We're not giving the goaltender a hard time. I mean, the goaltender in all these shutout losses, and haven't had one amazing, outstanding goalie shut us out yet. These have all been mid-tier goalies that are getting blown out the next night by another team. So it's just that our shots are just very simple. They're very basic. I mean, let's be honest. Demko last night didn't have to make a lot of tough saves. He just needed to be in the proper position. We weren't challenging him with high shots. I mean, this just goes to show you that our shots are just uncompetitive. We're also not getting in front of the net. How many times have we seen the opposing team within the last 2 weeks get in front of Igor or get in front of Quick and screen and make something happen, a deflection, a bad read? I mean, we've been seeing this every single night. For us, we're not getting those goals. We're not getting those opportunities. So we definitely need to change up our shot variation, and we need to get more bodies in front of the net to cause some trouble. And for me, that's the number one point of the whole season, just bad scoring chances all season long. I mean, we get 30 shots a night and we have no goals because 25 of those are just simple shots that you throw me and you in front of the net. We could save. Just all you got to do is be in front of the net in position. You're not making tough saves. So that's my read on it. I mean, Sullivan's got to do something to shake that up.
They don't cycle. They don't have a neutral zone break. They don't stretch ice. They don't have defensemen rush up ice or join the rush. And we're talking majority of the season. But last night comically personified the problems the Rangers have had. And yeah, for me, the Canucks game, that's the fork in the road for the direction of this team. Because if that doesn't tell management what they want to do in the future, I don't know what will. And frankly, I saw some fans that are bring up Robrook and bring up Perot and bring up even their mid-tier prospects. The NHL isn't a development league. So I don't think that'll work. I don't think that's the right move. Because Lafreniere and Kako, I thought, were rushed into the NHL off of obviously the COVID situation. What's also disappointing, Steve, you mentioned Lafreniere. I looked back at his draft profiles. It doesn't take a hard research, but just type it in and just read and ingest, like you said, trying to digest all this. Read through with your, everything. It's on free press, even from websites that aren't these paid subscriptions with the top reporters in hockey. Capo Caco was deemed a player with no flaws. Alexis Lafreniere was his compete level, his leadership, his goal scoring, his playmaking, everything was there. We really haven't seen that. And as much as there is a part of this that's on the Rangers organization with developing top end players, because we've seen that they could develop depth guys, Rempe, Cooley, Laba, they've been coming and going. But the top end guys, they haven't been there. And that's unfortunate. And to me, I was glad that Gabe Perreault got more of a run in the AHL. He's too dominant for that league. Let's see him take over a top 6 spot. I want to see him take it over because a lot of folks are saying, well, Connor Sheary. Well, if Gabe Perreault was not, let me ask you, Steve, did Gabe Perreault knock your socks off when he was up at the NHL level for 3 games?
Nope.
No. And
Nope.
to me, he's got to take that spot with conviction, with his play, his playmaking, with his strengths. And I personally don't think he's ready for an 82 game, schedule. Maybe at this point now, less games. We're into the season, but at the start of the season, I don't think he is a guy that's like physically that big. Anyway, to tie up kind of loose ends on what I was saying, like it's just a shame because you had the second overall pick, you had the first overall pick, you had Panarin come, you had Fox come into the fold, um, forced their way to New York basically in Panarin and Fox. And at the end of the day, that window's to me, it's starting to really feel like it's moving on, especially with Panarin's contract being up this year. I was
Yeah,
hoping they could at least try and take a stab at a run this year in the East because the East is so wide open. But at this point, I mean, you're bringing up Othman and Perot again. Like, at what point do you find the balance of let's get some veterans out there to at least have NHL players on the ice, but at the same time, I also don't think you should be playing the farm system every night.
I agree with you. Especially, I agree with you the most on Perot. You look at last year. I think right now it's just not the right time to plug him in there because confidence is low. It just I don't want him to experience and get that taste in his mouth. You look at what we did to Offman last year. We were just stale as hell at the end of last year. You throw Offman in there, he gave you nothing. I mean, how many games did he play and he gave you nothing? I mean, he had prime opportunities. He was playing with Panarin. Panarin feeds everybody that he plays with. He gave you nothing. Just a stale locker room, a stale environment. We want to put him in an opportunity where he's going to thrive and be able to step up and claim that spot with confidence, which I agree with you. For me, it's not right now. It's just not. And it's sad because I'm with you. I want to run. All it takes is 2 wins to insert you right back in there. And it just seems like we can't. It's win one, lose two. It's just you win 2 games over the course of 6 games, you lose four. I mean, that's again the theme of this episode: 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And honestly, with this team, it's really 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, the way that we've been running this year. I mean, look at the Ducks game the other night. We only had 5 shots in the third period. I mean, these are not good teams. I mean, you look at the Ducks, in their next game, they'll give up 5 shots in 4 minutes. It's just these are not good teams, and we're not playing well. We should just play every game on the road for the rest of the season. And maybe that's the only chance that we have at making a run. My final point is that responding to what you said, building off of Perot and that mix of veterans versus youth. For me, it's just not one player that I look at the trade deadline and say, let's bring them in and they're going to solve everything. I mean, this is just a highly systemic issue in our structure of this team, and I just don't see one player coming back or coming in and starting them. And we're just not that team. You don't get shut out 7 times in almost not even half a season so far, and say, what, we're going to acquire one player and now we're ready to make a run. That's just simply not the case. So that's my final thoughts to wrap up this epi. You have some before we go?
Yeah, I like what you said though, man. Like Quinn Hughes, like this is not the Quinn Hughes situation with Minnesota. So, but I think I'm going to end on a little more of a positive note.
Good.
If the Rangers in their competitive window drafted Gabe Perreault in 2023 and kept their 2024 first rounder to draft EJ Emery. So, although it's some top end, pretty mediocre prospect pool, they just got Malcolm Spence last draft in the second round. Um, I think if they're headed in the direction of like a rebuild, um, I'm happy that they don't have to kind of start the rebuild from scratch. When you and I grew up, Steve, there was no Gabe Perreault's coming up. Let's give him a shot. The Rangers' top prospects when you and I started really watching hockey were Sean Day and Ryan Gropp. Like the Rangers are above that now. And like I said, at the end of the day, there's been a lot of really shitty things that have gone on worldwide, in society the last few days. And like, I don't know, you and I see it as like this stinks, and obviously as fans and whatnot, but like at the same time, dude, um, when there were hard times in my life, I didn't care if the Rangers were rebuilding. I just wanted to watch a hockey game to entertain me. And although it stinks right now that it's not as entertaining, like I know you feel the same way. Like there are a lot of people that go on and on about they want to be right about what's going on. and they're so angry with the team, and like, then don't watch. Then just simply don't watch, because I know there's a lot of people that are probably going through a hard time right now that just want to watch hockey and just they want to watch their Rangers. It doesn't matter if they're fucking rebuilding or a championship team. So, yeah, I think like let's look big picture here. It's really fun to talk about the X's and O's, Steve, and but at the same time, I think like that's why sometimes I try and think positively, or at least see the positives in maybe not a great situation. Because at the end of the day, what are you and I going to do? We can only watch and talk about it.
That's true. And that's what we're doing. So, with that being said, that'll wrap us up here on this epi of Puck Talk CS. What will happen next? We don't know what will happen next, but what we do know is that we will be here to talk whatever happens over the course of the next few days. Everything New York Rangers, we got you covered at Puck Talk CS, the gram, YouTube, Twitter, all that at Puck Talk CS. And always remember, it's just the luck of the puck.